Well, welcome so much to Comfort Legacies with Fay Michelle. Yesterday, I took my second Pfizer.
Congratulations.
Yes, and I have this shirt and it's got my shot, and they gave a survey, and it talked about some of the myths that we've heard about taking the shot, and some, I would have to say, with our past history, is valid. It's
Yes.
valid for people to think that way.
Yes.
But if you have to consider, I mean, these people are really deciding that it's better to go to a party and take the risk than take a shot and take the risk at living. And that's a tough sell.
That's a tough sell. Yes.
Yeah, I was talking to the young lady. She was in her master's program over at Gonzaga, and she was the one that was implementing the survey, giving out the survey. And I talked to her later on, and she said she was just going into all of the communities, just spread the message that it's okay. But the one thing that I found was a problem when I first got there. There was an elderly lady that asked the medical assistant, "Can I know what's in the vaccine?" And she responded. She says, "Well, you don't need to know that. Even if you got it, it would be something that you wouldn't understand. It's just for people in the medical field, and she was an elderly lady. And normally I would just butt in.
Right.
But I was like, I've been down, I've been in COVID, I've been quarantined. I'm not my usual self, So I'm just going to back off and just, kind of listen. And I let them have the conversation. And then somebody else jumped in and said something else. And it kind of took me away from the conversation. But it really kind of broke my spirit a little, because I really wanted to jump in there and just, have that and say, here, Google it right here. You can Google it and find out. But it turns out that they had information there. The assistant one, she just wasn't aware or was not trained on how to deal with that type of questioning. And so I was speaking to the young lady about that, and she said we had all of the information there. And that's unfortunate, for her, because I know that lady walked away feeling like, I'm doing this and I'm hesitant, but, and I asked for the information and I didn't get the information. So I have a choice to make right now. I'm going to take it or I'm not, or, I'm just not comfortable. And they encourage you to do so, but then they don't provide you with the information that would make you feel comfortable in, moving forward. So you as a doctor, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. That first impression is so important, and you never get a chance to make another first impression.
Yes.
I'm a board certified orthopedic surgeon. I've been practicing for about 25 years. I also hold a second board certification in independent medical examination. And by that, I'm a medical legal expert. I kind of sort of police other doctors and how they do their cases, especially when it comes up for lawsuits. I also have a online school called the IME Academy, where I train my fellow physicians that are, disillusioned with their medical practices, become medical experts, so that they can kind of have the freedom and find that work-life balance. I am one of only 6 Black female orthopedic joint replacement surgeons in the country. And when I became a joint specialist back in 1997, I believe I was the second or third. And in these 20-something odd years, we've only had 3 more. So that was not lost on me. I started immediately trying to help, the young people coming up behind me find their way. So when the pandemic started, I had some free time on my hands. And I said to myself, representation matters. And last March, when my office had to shut down for about 6 weeks here in Maryland, because as an orthopedic surgeon, the office was not an essential place for people to go. So we shut down here. And here in Maryland, we were really strict. So, so I was off between March and late April. Well, let's just go back to medicine for a second. Less than 5% of all physicians are Black. Thank God for a platform like yours. It's going to help me disseminate this information.
Thank you so much.
I mean, with the COVID-19 vaccine, the coronavirus has been around since the 1920s, and it was first discovered in humans back in 1965. So our common cold, some of the common colds that we get every year are caused by coronaviruses. It's just that there are three strains that have been harmful and have killed us. And that's the SARS back in the early 2000s, the MERS that came out in 2012. You know, SARS killed about 774 people, if I remember correctly. I just gave a talk on this last Saturday to a health expo.
Okay.
And MERS was a little bit more deadly because in addition to the upper respiratory tract symptoms such as shortness of breath and so forth, you added kidney failure to that. Okay. And then our variant, COVID-19, you know what COVID-19 stands for, right? CO is coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. In 2019. Well, COVID-19 is even more deadly. And you see how many people it's killed around the world. So we definitely see a trend of where these viruses are going to continue to mutate, you know, and these pandemics are continuing to happen. And it's happening in a much quicker fashion now. You know, the first gap was about 9 years between the first, the SARS and the MERS, you know, and then it's been only 3 years since MERS. So we don't know when the next one will hit. And as long as we don't take this vaccination and we leave our bodies as a breeding ground where these viruses can flourish and thrive and mutate, it's going to be even quicker before the next one hits. So the virus, I mean, the vaccination a lot of people think that it was just worked on since last year, that this is new science. And unfortunately, that's not the truth. We've had coronavirus vaccines going back almost 40 years. It's just that with each variant, they have to account for the changes in the virus. And that's all that happened in the past year. The FDA it takes about 10 years to really get a drug through all the screenings and testing for the FDA. But it doesn't mean that the drug is not effective from day one. And so because of the rate at which people were dying and getting infected, we had to what do you call it?
Expedited.
Expedited. And therein lies the EUA, the emergency authorization that happened with this. But the testing and the studies are still going on. So we're going to find more and more out when each study ends. But as far as the effectiveness of the vaccine, based on the fact that the vaccine has been around for so long, we were able to determine how effective it was from the offset. We just need to know what else the vaccine or what other luxuries the vaccine affords us. For instance, a couple of days ago, maybe it was Friday, when Pfizer came out and said 94% of the people that have taken the vaccine will not get the coronavirus at all.
Wow.
We didn't know that before then. So you got the right one. I took Moderna.
Right one.
Yeah, you know, but Moderna hasn't finished their study on that particular problem because with each question, there has to be a study to address it. So we don't know if they're in the midst of a study or where they are in the study, you know, how they're going to come out. So we don't know. But the one thing you know when you take the vaccination is that it's going to keep you from dying. But taking the chance, I'd rather take the vaccination than take the chance that I might, you know, I've spoken on this topic several times, or more than several, on Clubhouse, the new platform. And people are actually going by the CDC saying, oh, you have to be 60 and older or have 2.9 underlying conditions, and that's not true. In that particular study that they did, those were the results of that study. So that supposition was valid. But what we have seen, and I know we all know people who had no underlying conditions that still died from the virus. So there's a lot to learn, and we should not look for the minimization to excuse ourselves for not being, more aggressive about getting the vaccine and making sure that we are okay.
Right, absolutely. What do you think about some of the myths about the vaccine? So, especially with, I guess, okay, on the survey, they talked about government involvement.
Yes.
And that was one, is that, government getting involved in your life, or they sent me a whole list of, I asked the girl to send me the list of the survey again, because, I couldn't remember, but I wanted to ask people about that and kind of, get them thinking.
And it's crazy. Yeah, I've heard that when they give you it's not a vaccine that you're getting, it's actually a chip that's going to monitor you.
Yes, the chip.
And it's, something about 5G,
Oh, yes.
Research. And it's amazing the people that I've heard espouse these conspiracy theories, some of our favorite, actors and hip hop stars, and and I'm going, oh my goodness, no, that's not true. Everybody points back to the Tuskegee Airmen. Thank you. And that was unfortunate that happened, but that's not what's happening in this case. Because as physicians, if we know that's the case, we certainly wouldn't be out there taking the vaccination, or telling other people to take it. In fact, with Moderna, one of the main researchers is a young Black female who herself got into trouble early on for making a comment that was controversial, that the media thought was racist, but because basically she was saying that healthcare was disparate, and that's true. We later came to see more examples in our faces that we couldn't deny. But she made that comment early on, and she made a comment saying, I hope this vaccination basically will reach my people, because, we're always capped from stuff. So, but yeah, it's, all I can do is tell people, look, you have a choice. You can take the vaccine and know you're going to live, or you can gamble on it. And that's all it boils down to.
Wow. And you just can't bust that myth up. It's like, my reasoning for taking the vaccine was simply that I don't have any control over what everyone else does, and they are impacting my life. So this is a step that I can take in order to protect myself against those that are not willing to be safe around others, or take the precautions about someone else's life. Yes. It's okay if it's okay if you say, I don't want to take the vaccine and I'm good and whatnot. But when you are directly, or could be directly responsible for someone else getting the virus, then you have to look at it a little differently. Then, it's almost like you're weaponizing yourself. Yes. Because, you're not taking those precautions to make sure that the next person is okay. Yeah. So
if we can get people to stop feeling like it's an infringement of their rights, much more so than a humanitarian gesture to protect the person next to you, that would help a whole lot.
Yes, yes. Or politicizing it. That I think that was the worst to begin with, was just politicizing it. And wow. Fortunately, while I was in school, I love taking extra courses, right? Just to get the bang for my buck, and making sure that I can have extra credit to fall back on. So I took a course called Ancient Diseases. The doctor was there. She was a doctor, and she was coming in and doing a hybrid teaching courses, and it was a phenomenal class.
Oh, wow.
And it took all the way back to ancient biblical times, starting with leprosy, and it just really grew. And so we talked about all of these things, and I keep going back there. We talked about the pandemic and epidemics, and how the spread and how it traveled, and lo and behold, I think had it not have been for that class, I probably would have been just pretty much out of pocket with this, or just out of my mind with it, because I was prepared, and I was not even expecting it. I didn't think that it would happen in such a modern time.
Yes.
But I was like, wow, now how good is God?
Yes, God is good.
How good is God to, just it was not a course that was preparing us for a future pandemic or epidemic or whatnot, but just reminding us of things happening in the past and have happened. And it has been so instrumental to me. Go ahead.
Never thought you would live through one, did you?
No. Quarantine. I was like, really? Quarantine. And, we knew about the Spanish, but we still see it. It's pretty much like I was saying about an author coming to the school, and students really getting an opportunity to know what an author is or who they are. They're touchable, they're tangible. They're just not words on a page. And, to go through a pandemic or a quarantine, and the government is telling you stay in, and all the sirens are going within a matter of days and weeks, and the whole world was shutting down. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But I saw the necessity in it just from having that experience, or going through that course and knowing that this is exactly what the course was talking about. But I don't know. Maybe I would be on the other side like the other people, saying, I'm not taking that back. But he said, Corona's been around for a long time. Just like when AIDS came out, AIDS had been around before and a long time. It's always, and just not knowing where to look, like the lady that was asking about the ingredients and the vaccine, not knowing where to look, and not having a voice such as yours that can really speak to the things that's close to people, and making it real for them. What you're doing is making a huge impact, and they can get the real facts and really understand the subject matters that that you're really supposed to be taking in.
Just answer their little questions, make them feel validated.
Yes.
Make it.
Oftentimes people won't make that move because they just don't trust the process.
Yeah.
So, and if when someone has done it, and then that gives a little bit more credibility, a little bit more comfortability too, if I can use. Oh, there's one of them grandchildren now. I guess the live is over. That's why we edit. That's why we but my daughter stay home from work. She works for the university, and so me and my husband is here, and we wanted to give a year to them, my daughter and the son-in-law, for our grandchild, to raise them, help them out, and just be in their lives, because we were in California and they're in Spokane. And then, so we weren't able to do that for the very first year for our first grandson, but by the second grandson, that's when we came back. We were like, we're here. We sold everything, moved everything, and drove all the way up here. And in the midst of that, they had another one. So I was like, and then the pandemic happened. And my husband was like, they better not have another one. I mean, I have another one. Like nobody forced you to come, you know. It's like you wanted to come. No, they better have another. So yeah, so we have three. Um,
Okay.
so
Good.
those are the three. There are four, two, and not one. My almost,
Wow.
but yeah,
Fun years.
yeah. So that's
It's a
that's
lot
what
of
we're.
work, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I said, God is so good because I just can't imagine being away and not knowing, not being able to, be close. And I don't, we're here with them. We're stuck with them. We get, we all get a chance to feel every crevice of this babyhood. So yeah, yeah. It's but it's good. It's great. It's great. It really, really, really is. And we keep thinking like, wow, this is not what we thought, not what we anticipated or planned or and whatever. And it turned out to be so great. Unfortunately, 500,000 people have passed in COVID, but it has really made such a difference in our lives, in a good way. Let me see you,
The joy
funny.
on your face.
Yeah, 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 right. Look at you. Look at you. Yeah, I'm still recording while you say hi.
Oh, hey, y'all.
You say hi.
Hi, how are you?
You see him? You're trying to speak? Okay, go back to your grandpa. Oh my goodness. Well, it's been just such a great time with you. And yeah, I can't wait to do this again. I wish you so much success in all that you're doing. And when we do that little live, I'm kind of hit you up when I'm on the Zoom and they're talking about this COVID thing, like you need to talk to somebody who really knows. So, but thank you so much.
Yeah, let's stay in touch.
Okay, thanks. And I will talk to you later. Bye bye, doctor.